What is up, my friends? You are very welcome along to Tuesday night's late night agenda, where we finally have some light at the end of the tunnel. We know that Liverpool are going to go after a number 6, a specialist, but we don't know who. We're going to ask the questions tonight. I've got a list of 7 or 8 names that I want to go through. We're going to be talking about other incomings as well. The very high bar that was set for this search for a number 6. The journalists have been having their say. We've all been guessing. So tonight we're going to try and get to the bottom of exactly who this number 6 is. We're going to be speaking about other outgoings. We're going to be talking about Anthony Gordon and whatever else is happening in this summer's transfer market. I really do appreciate you guys coming in to join me as always. We did incredible last night. Over 3,000 people with us throughout the stream. And tonight we're going to have some fun as well along the way. So get your comments coming in. Let me know the subject and names you'd like me to talk about, and I will do my very best to get to them as soon as I can. So let's start off with a conversation around, well, while we're waiting for the chat to fill up actually, let's start off with a conversation around some fixture changes that have been announced. Just in case you guys are planning on heading to Anfield Rover for a game, there are some fixtures that have just been rescheduled because of television purposes. So Crystal Palace against Liverpool, Saturday, October the 5th, is now a 12:30. Now, this is before the international break, but still, a 12:30 kickoff again. Thanks a lot, TNT Sports. We're going to go through that. We're going to speak again, Liverpool-Chelsea, Saturday, October the 19th on Sky Sport. It's a 5:30 kickoff. And Arsenal versus Liverpool now, Sunday, October 27th. 4:30 kickoff on Sky Sports as well. So that's where we're at with the fixture updates. We've got our first super chat of the night, so let me get that up on screen as well. And let me just read through it. Kyle Caulfield, thank you, mate, for your super chat. Really appreciate your support. Kyle said, "Hi, Craig. I hope you're well. What do you think the chances are on someone signing before the season starts? What position do you think will come first?" Well, it's almost nailed on to be a midfielder at this point, Kyle. I'm not sure how up you've been on social media over the last 24 hours or not, but it's been announced by David Ornstein that Liverpool have honed in on the player that they'd like. It's a number 6, a specialist in that position. All that we know for certain at this moment, Kyle, is that will be a player that isn't currently plying their trade in the Premier League. So somebody will come in from a league outside. Who's that going to be? Well, that's what we're going to try and figure out tonight, my friend. We'll appreciate you being in, and thank you as well for the first super chat of the night. Right. Ian said broccoli. Well, yes, poo broccoli. Boo to broccoli. Craig, please fill me in on what's happening with Carvalho. Apparently, he's available to be sold for the right price. We don't know what the right price is yet, but yes, Fabio Carvalho's name is on the list. I went through this in the podcast with Jack earlier on, and a new podcast episode, by the way, will be dropping tomorrow, so make sure you do search Anfield Agenda on whatever your favourite podcast platform is. And myself and Jack went into this, and I was a little bit annoyed about it, to be honest with you, mate, because we'd heard that Arne Slot wants to assess his squad, and I don't see how we don't think Carvalho had a good pre-season. I think he couldn't have done much more. He scored against Arsenal, he scored against Manchester United, but he seemingly is on that list of players who are willing to move on. Players like Tyler Morton were willing to listen to offers for. Obviously, Sepp van den Berg. Ben Doak was mentioned as somebody who we could not just put out on loan, but maybe even sell. Surely that's stupidity. Loan the kid by all accounts, but don't sell Ben Doak. Let him see how he gets on in the Premier League before you make a definitive decision, in my humble opinion. We've got another member's message coming in. Let me just get this up on screen as well. Thank you very much as well, Johannes Bowman, for your 11 months with us as a member, mate. Thank you so much. I would love if the mystery player is Zubimendi. Well, I'm going to get a poll together of some options that I think could be realistic. But before we do, let's have that discussion. So, Zubimendi would tick the box for a few reasons, right? He's 25 years of age. He is playing outside the Premier League, so that still fits into what David Ornstein said. Now, like all players in the Premier League, in La Liga, he has a release clause. So, it would be doable from that regard. But the one thing that I'm kind of going to pour a little bit of cold water on this is he's always struck us as somebody who wants to stay in La Liga. So I don't know if Zubimendi will be up for a move away from Sociedad and over to the Premier League, but it's certainly a name that I think most of the people in this chat would be fairly okay with. I have a list of 7 that I'm going to go through. So let me just read out my list and then we'll go into the chat a little bit more. Christopher has a comment that I guess ties into this, Christopher, so let me get this up on screen as well before I give you my list. And thank you, Christopher. Christopher Fiddler with us for 11 months as well as an Anfield Agenda member. Thank you so much, mate. He said, who do you think personally will be the number 6? And the honest answer, bro, is I haven't got a clue. But I'm going to give you a list of players that I think are possible. I did have Fofana on this list, but I do believe Yusuf Fofana is going to AC Milan. At least that's his preference according to Fabrizio Romano. So my list is Zubimendi, 25 years of age. Ederson, Atalanta, 25 years of age. Probably going to cost. Zubimendi's release clause, by the way, we believe is about 60 million euro or so. So then you've got Ederson of Atalanta. I think 40 million plus some add-ons would get him sorted out. Another name is Alan Varela. Plays for Porto, 23 years of age. Argentinian, described as the next Javier Mascherano, albeit take that with a huge pinch of salt. How many times have we... Bruno Cheirou was going to be the next Zinedine Zidane, so you never take these things too seriously. Then there's Manuel Ugarte, who 1 for me isn't good enough, 2 United are looking at, and 3 hasn't got the right capabilities for what we want from a midfielder under Arne Slot, particularly in possession. Then there's 2 kind of off-the-wall suggestions. There's Morten Frendrup, who we spoke about previously, playing in Serie A. He's 23 years of age. And then there's Morten Hjulmand. You might remember him when we were linked with Ruben Amorim. He was a name playing at Sporting in a defensive midfield position that we had been loosely linked with as well. So they're the names that I'm thinking off the top of my head. But any ones that you guys would like me to discuss or any other suggestions you have, feel free to let me know. Eddie Cox-Wilkins, always very good to see you in, my man, and thank you for your super chat. Eddie said, who do you think the first midfielder will be? Again, mate, I don't want to throw a name out there because it is guesswork. I don't have the answer here for the midfielder. I wouldn't be surprised if we heard something tonight. So we've got certainly our eyes open for any incoming posts or any incoming notes. So if anything happens while we're live, if that name does come out for the 10 o'clock news or whatever, don't worry, I'll be here to give you guys the latest. Joe Lewis, excuse me, Joe. Thank you for your super chat, bro. Joe Lewis has said, evening Craig, been watching for a long time but never managed to catch your live shows due to work schedule. Just wanted to say thanks for all that you do. Thank you, mate. You know what, people have been lovely recently, you know, very kind words, great support of our channel, and yeah, man, that means a lot. Thank you so much, and lovely to have you in, Joe. Glad you're enjoying the show. Right, let's get cracking. So, Craig, I'm seeing stuff about Bastoni. Is it true? Oren, I will speak about Bastoni, and I'll give you a possibility of why it may be true and why it may not be true. But just give me a while to work through the midfielder stuff, bro, and I promise you, we'll get back around to talk about Bastoni, because I know he's a name that would excite a lot of people. It will be a bloody Feyenoord player, probably, said Jamie Doyle. Well, I don't think it will. One thing that has stood out, and something that Connor circled from Andy Hunter of The Guardian, is that Liverpool are striving to reach a really high bar. So Liverpool are looking to bring in the creme de la creme. Now, of course, the creme de la creme in this position doesn't necessarily mean the person that costs the most, but it has to be the person that's right for our system. Worryingly, there's starting to be a little few things to suggest that maybe a midfielder could be it. That could be the end of the window because of how impressed Slot has been with some of the other players at the club. I think if we don't sign a centre-back, it's nothing short of madness, personally. But again, we'll talk about it tonight. Hughes is close to Zubimendi's agent, apparently, said Liver Lad. Could be, but you know, if the player is settled in La Liga and maybe doesn't want to move across to the Prem, there's not really much you can do there. If the player's up for it, then you know you've got the release clause, so not much any selling club in Spain can do. If somebody comes in, puts the money on the table, and the player wants to move, they have to have a release clause in their contract. It's law in Spain. So if it's Zubimendi and he wants to move, well, then we know what we'd have to do. Do you think Ornstein knows who the number 6 is? Well, he certainly alluded to knowing. At least that's how I read the information from David Ornstein. He didn't flatly come out and say, yes, I know who it is, but certainly the posts and the quotes I've seen suggest he probably must. You know, if he knows it's a player outside the Premier League, unless he's been briefed very specific things, I would suggest he probably does. Which I wish he'd tell all of us. That would be nice, wouldn't it? Right, let me get to Bradley Hall Super Chat. Thank you, Bradley. Hi, Craig. How about Kone or Thuram? So Thuram, no. Juventus, done, sorted. If he hasn't gone there already, he's going there. I don't know if that deal was done or not, but I think Kefren Thuram, Juventus. If it's done or not, I can't remember. Manu Kone is somebody who's available really cheap. You know, there's talk of a fee of about 20 million quid now to sign Kone. So, you know, again, he was a player we were linked with last season when we had George Schmatka in doing the transfers. I don't know if Michael Edwards and Richard Hughes are still fond of the guy or not, so I don't want to say yes or no, but I don't think he'd be good enough. I don't think Michael Edwards would look at him and think he's the solution, but it's football, man, and anything is possible. Harry Klein, thank you, mate, for your super chat. Let me just get that up and we go through it. Where's Harry Klein's super chat? Sorry, there we go. I'd love to see Ederson. Do you know any good websites for footy tops? I want a Liverpool home 2021 top with Thiago on it. Thiago would be so good in slot ball. Well, I wouldn't worry about the with Thiago on it because you can get that done afterwards anyway. But I don't really buy used tops too much, mate. But if you're looking for a 2021 Liverpool top, sometimes it's worth having a look in charity shops. I know that sounds mad, but sometimes you can pick up a few bargains in there. Other than that, I'm sure the chat will probably have some suggestions for you as well on who that might be. So have at a chat. Help our friend out here. Right, what's this one? Shane. Where's Shane's comment? Let me get Shane's comment up. Shane, thank you, mate. A member with us for 5 months. Said, love watching the streams, Craig. Keep it up. Thank you, mate. Appreciate your support as well. And then I've got one more super chat before we jump back into the chat and get going with everybody's thoughts. Where's this one? There we go. Do you think we need to sign a right back and a left back? Said 7DVZE. Definitely not a right back. No, I don't see any need for a right back personally. You know, if we have Gomez still at the club, then you've got Trent, Connor Bradley. I think we're more than stocked at right back. Left back, I wouldn't say no to a left back, mate. But, you know, again, it's about freeing up places in the squad, right? So Andy Robertson hasn't played in pre-season yet. He's going to come in relatively late to first team training. Kostas Tsimikas isn't really pulling up any trees for me and as somebody who I think we could improve on. We've been linked with Nuri a little bit, but what's worrying me is this talk about Liverpool. Let me just read this out to you. So this comes from Andy Hunter of The Guardian. It said, aside from a defensive midfielder, there is a belief that there are no glaring holes to fill in a team that remain in the early stages of development and capable of improving on the club's third place finish. So I very, very strongly disagree with that. Whilst I agree with the fact that there is a lot to work with at the football club right now, I think that's a fair statement. To say that there is no glaring holes, I think is absolute nonsense. I haven't been fully convinced of Ibrahima Konate in pre-season under Arne Slot. I haven't been convinced seeing him on there. He looks sloppy to me, and I don't know if being able to play out from the back with him is something that's going to work or not. We also have to take into account his sketchy injury record. So defensively, just looking at him from a centre-back, no issues with Konate. But can he play out? Can he take those risks? I'm unsure. Jarell Kwanzaa, yes, he can do everything. I think most of us will agree on that. And he looked absolutely mint in pre-season. Van Dijk we know about. On top of that, though, you're talking about Sepp van den Berg, who we all believe is up for sale and we're taking offers in for, refusing and looking for the right number. So I fail to see how they don't think there's a glaring hole at centre-back. Now, you can make an argument that the centre-back situation might not need a guaranteed starter, and that's where we'll move on to talk about Bastoni in a while, but there is a glaring hole there. Whether it's a third choice, a fourth choice, we need to get an extra body in, and an extra body that's good enough. So I would disagree with Andy Hunter on that one. Stevie Boy, thank you, mate, for your super chat. As always, you're very kind. Said, whether Liverpool sign a DM or centre-back this window will not be a very good window. Future still up in the air. Thoughts? Well, if we sign both those positions, I'm okay. I'm okay, mate. Honestly, if we sign a centre-back and a central midfielder, I can understand not adding in the forward. I can understand. Look, we'd all like as many good bodies in as possible. But we don't want to move and become Chelsea. And I'm going to talk about Chelsea in a minute because their squad is just stupidly overpacked. So those are the two positions at the start of the summer I wanted Liverpool to improve on. And if we get those ticked off, I can't sit here with a good conscience and say it hasn't been a decent window. It's been a frustrating window to this point. But if we do fill those vacancies, then, I've got to be fair about it and say I'll be happy enough. Because I do agree there's a lot there for Arne Slot to work with. But I also agree, and I cannot say this strongly enough, that FSG are cheap. You're cheap, John. You are cheap. You're cheap. So where is the money? And why all of a sudden the three positions that weren't even up for debate are now all of a sudden there's no glaring holes being briefed? I don't buy that. I'm not having that. So we need to fill the glaring holes, and they're the two for me. Carl, why does being a Liverpool fan feel like Groundhog Day? Every season with transfers, we always seem to take risks, which bites us in the backside. The answer to that is really simple, mate. John W. Henry and FSG are cheap. I know it's the recurring theme from me, but it's also been a recurring theme in transfers, right? They're cheap. They always take the cheap option or go in and, as you said, Carl, roll the dice. Well, we've rolled the dice twice in a big way. Once, we got away with it and we got into the Champions League because of Alisson's header against West Brom. And another time, we didn't get away with it. We didn't bring in a centre-back and that cost us. We didn't bring in a midfielder and that cost us massively. So, again, you got to ask, is the appetite there to win? Is it? Of course they're going to be on side of, work with what's there, work with the younger players, of course them owners are going to want that because they're cheap. That's like music to his ears. Somebody saying to John W. Henry, there's enough there to work with, John. We don't need to spend big. But I think most of us believe if we really want to win, if we want to go after the Prem, if we want to go after the Champions League, then we've got to add in quality. And sometimes quality costs some money. Demon Jedi Gaming. Don't quite understand the clamour for a centre-back. Really only going to be a 4th, 5th choice. Are we really going to attract anybody better than Van den Berg? So, you've raised a fair point, and I'm going to counter your point with half agreeing with you and half not agreeing with you. So, I don't think we're going to sign a centre-back who's going to come in and expect to start immediately and play every game. I don't think that's the centre-back we're looking for. From my conversations and my reading into this situation, we are going to look for somebody to be a 3rd choice or a 4th choice, but with a view to them developing into becoming a regular starter. So, are we going to find somebody better than Sepp van den Berg? Yes. Quite frankly, yes, we are. And it's very clear that he's available. Offers have come in and been refused. More offers are expected. But from speaking with David Lynch and some others as well, you've got a fair point. Liverpool aren't looking to bring in somebody to start the season with Virgil van Dijk, let's say. So I would expect somebody 19 to 23, maybe 22, with a handful of experience with the potential to get some more. So, I don't fully disagree with you, mate. I think you've raised a good point, but I would disagree with you on the Step thing. I think he's definitely up for sale, as things sit. Anyway, now, I'm going to go on and talk about Bastoni in a second, but before I do, wow, what a super chat this is. Thank you so much, David. Absolute legend, mate. Thank you. $49.99. Thank you so much. Wow. I love when you see the pink super chats come in, something's up. Can you speak to your thoughts on the need for an outside centre-back? Personally, I'm comfortable starting the campaign with who we have. Virgil van Dijk, Kanade, Gomez, Van den Berg and Kwanzaa. You've spoke to it. Surely we give Kanade another year though. Yeah. Yes, 100%. I wouldn't be I have my doubts about Kanade in this style But I'm absolutely willing to give him a year to prove me wrong. 100% with you on that one. The only name on that list that I'd argue back against David is Sepp van den Berg. And I think most of us feel like it's written in the stars that he leaves. You know, we keep accepting... When we're refusing offers but not saying he's not for sale, I think that tells us what we need to know. We're refusing offers because they're not meeting the number that Liverpool want. So I do expect if somebody gets to that number, mate, then he moves on. But you are right in saying as well that we've got a good collection there. I just think we're one short. I've always believed we're one short. Joe Gomez, I'm really happy to hear that Joe wants to prove to Arne Slot that he's worth keeping around. Obviously, there was the situation where he was potentially included in any deal in June for Anthony Gordon. Then there was some talk that maybe Joe Gomez wants to evaluate his future. And speaking with David Lynch off stage at the show we did in Liverpool, he said to me that Liverpool would even potentially be willing to facilitate the move for Joe by way of any, how do I say this, not holding clubs to the very highest of values, almost accepting a reasonable offer because of Joe's great service to the club. So I don't know what's going to happen there, but I want Joe to stay without any shadow of a doubt, mate. I want Joe Gomez to stay. I think we would have been up a certain creek without a paddle if we hadn't got Joe Gomez last season. Carl, again, thank you for your super chat, my man. Carl has said, did we ever sign that young player from Chelsea? It's not been officially announced that Liverpool have signed Rio Nyamoha, but we have gone through the 5-step process that the Premier League had looked at. So I do think it's happening soon. I can also say to you that he has been training with at the AXA training facility, kind of under wraps a bit. So I wouldn't say there's anything to worry about on that one, Carl. He will be a Liverpool player. Now, I'm going to go on to a couple more super chats in a minute, but I want to just talk about Chelsea for one quick second. One of the people in our Discord group shared an image about Chelsea's team. It's quite simply ridiculous. Chelsea have seven goalkeepers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 centre-backs. 9 centre-backs. 9. They have 3 left-backs, 2 right-backs, 10 central midfielders, 3 left-wingers, 3 right-wingers, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 players that can play through the centre. That is an overstocked, ridiculous squad, and yet the clowns are still going out and making more signings. It's mental. It's mental. And yet we're being told like the bare minimum in our squad should be enough to get you through. I think a balance somewhere in the middle is probably right, but yeah, let's wait and see. Right, where are the super chats I've got to get through? Off the post, thank you, mate, for your super chat. Want to just say as well, as you can see, top left corner, we're only 43 subscribers away from 266,000. So if you haven't, please do take a second, hit that subscribe button. Really do appreciate your help. Right, this one, Craigo. I love it. Call me Craigo because that's what my mates call me. So keep that coming. How about Joshua Kimmich? Could be huge. So, looking at the posts going around on social media from journalists around Joshua Kimmich, it looks like he's willing to kind of dig his heels in, see down his contract and go in a year. There's been no breakthrough. PSG doesn't interest them. They've been in for him. So he could, if he doesn't get the move to the clubs that he wants, which according to various reports were Liverpool, Manchester City, Real Madrid, Barcelona, and maybe there was one more that I can't remember. So I don't think it's going to be Joshua Kimmich because I don't think he fits into Liverpool's age profile for a player that we want for many years to come in that defensive midfield or central midfield position. So I don't expect it to be him. Another super chat from the detective. Thank you, my friend. Always very lovely to see you in. We've been looking for a DM since last year. You're incorrect there, mate. And I'm going to use the Echo's own words against them here. Liverpool have now entered into the 3rd year of our search for a long-term successor for the defensive midfield position. We were looking even in the last year of Fabinho's time at the club, so it's actually 3 years. And then we got Endo as a stopgap. Are we saying that for a year we haven't been able to identify a target? Well, you've got to remember one important factor here as well. We didn't have Michael Edwards then. So maybe George Schmadtke and Jurgen Klopp couldn't come to an agreement or find somebody that they deemed were good enough. But it seems like Mr. Michael Edwards and Mr. Richard Hughes have found somebody that they believe is good enough, shall we say. And until we find out who that is, we're all kind of anxious, excited, blue-balled, for want of a better phrase. Wow. Another incredibly generous super chat. Thank you from a Teakster with a $50 super chat, mate. Thank you so much. Where are these coming from, you lunatics? But thank you. Love you to bits. Thank you. He said, why aren't we looking into getting a DM and keep up the good work? You'll never walk alone. Well, we are. The good news is it looks like we are absolutely 100% nailed on going to sign a central defensive midfielder based off a lot of journalist reports today. So I'm going to take you back earlier on in the day where words started to come out from Mr. David Ornstein. And he said, Liverpool aim to bolster Arne Slot's side by signing a new number 6 before the window shuts. Liverpool have been pursuing a midfielder not currently playing in the Premier League. The position is viewed as a market priority at Anfield, and that plus more on other clubs on the article that he wrote. So he certainly feels like he knows that Liverpool are looking for a defensive midfielder, a specialist number 6. That has the Liverpool fans, who, by the way, are the best in the world at sniffing out all of this kind of stuff and, going and trying to find every player possible. We've gone through the list of Varela, Zubamendi, Ederson. We spoke about Ugarte, who I personally don't think is good enough. So, yeah, look, it looks like we will find out who this guy is going to be soon. Now, just because we've identified the target at Teakster, it doesn't mean, I guess, that we're going to guarantee we'll be able to sign the player. But one thing I will promise you is Liverpool fans aren't going to accept we tried again. That ain't going to wash this summer for any of us. Whatever side of the FSG funding debate you're on, we couldn't get another defensive midfielder argument ain't going to wash this summer. I think most of us would be pretty in agreement on that much. By the way, what has happened with our channel? Came back last night, did a stream, 3,100 people in the chat, and I thought maybe we were away for 4 nights, maybe people just coming in checking I was alright or something. Tonight, 2,600 people in the chat. Thank you, and thank you again for your incredible support. It really does mean the world to us. Right, I got to get to this super chat that I brought up on screen there. Craig, lad, what happened to Andre Trinidad, heavily linked in January, and not a word now? Jerry, that bugged me as well, bro, because he wasn't available because he wanted to firstly win the league, then he wanted to go over and play in he wanted to win the Copa Libertadores, which they did. Then he wanted to go over and play in the Club World Cup, and that meant we couldn't do it in January. But then the interest seems to have faded away. Fulham have revisited the situation, obviously, since moving João Palhinha on to Bayern Munich, but I've not really heard a sniff, mate. I wish I could give you a definitive answer on what happened there and why we haven't revisited, but nothing. Now, Ornstein could drop an Ornstein bomb later on, or a Joyce bomb could come out and say, ba-boom, it's this player. But as of right now, it's difficult. And it's hard to get a read on it as well because of what I said earlier on. We were looking at some players under a previous sporting director with a different manager. Has the view changed now? Has the criteria changed in Arne Slot's system, which is a little bit different to Jurgen's, particularly with the way we're looking to move the ball? So again, I guess stay tuned, Jerry, my man, stay tuned. Tanya said, yesterday and now I can't comment, only by paying. Tanya, from our side, mate, there's absolutely zero reason that you can't comment. We haven't blocked you. There is no setting on YouTube to only be able to send super chats. So it's not an Anfield Agenda issue. It's a YouTube issue. And truly, I haven't got a clue. There's no button that I can press that only lets people send super chats to talk. It doesn't exist. So you're not banned. That's clear. Or your super chat wouldn't come through. So my guess would be to Google it, my mate. Or maybe we'll find out if there's another setting or something at Google's end or YouTube's end, and I will try to look into it for you, but I promise you, Tanya, it isn't coming from us, my friend. We have no desire for you to only be able to send super chats, mate. You've been with us a long time. So, why would we? We like you. You're a great contributor to the channel. So, I'm going to try and look into it for you, but just bear with me while I do it, if that's okay, Tanya. And if you want to drop us an email, mate, contact@AnfieldAgenda.com. I'll look into it from there with Connor, and I will get back to you, I promise you. Let me get to Dean's super chat. Dean, thank you, mate. Dean has said, and that has got me stumped, Tanya, to be honest with you, because there's no rhyme or reason to why that could be happening. Where's the super chat that I've got up now? What's this one? Hey Craig, would you give the missus a shout out for her birthday, Sammy, as we're big fans of yours? It'd be my absolute pleasure, Dean. Weirdly, Sammy was my dad's name. Well, his name was actually James Samuel, but everyone called him Sammy, and his father was called Sammy as well. So, Sammy, happy birthday. Thank you for watching. Thank you for letting Dean watch as well, because let's be honest, if we wanted to put the foot down there, it wouldn't be happening. So, appreciate your support, and thank you so much, and happy birthday. I hope you have a wonderful one. I won't ask you what number it is, because, that's impolite, but, just do what I do, Sammy, when you get to these days. Just start going 39.3. That's what I say for my birthdays these days. Mike, lovely to see you win, Mike. Thank you for your super chat as well. Wow, I don't know what's happening here, but it's just Craig reading super chats. I'm trying to get to the rest of the comments as well. Let's get some WFMs in the chat, said Mike. I'm up for a few WFMs. By the way, if you're a regular viewer of the channel, you'll know what WFM is. If you don't, it means we're fucking massive. It's kind of just a little motto we have. Right, David Massett said, evening, Craig. Hope you are well. I am in flying form. I'll let you in on a little secret. I was waiting for the results of some medical tests because, I'm getting older. I know as you get older, things start to happen. So I was waiting for some results, and I've been waiting 2.5 weeks, and I swear to God, just before we started the stream 20 minutes ago, the doctor rang with the results, and thankfully everything is good. So I'm relieved right now. I'm buzzing right now. I'm excited to be here, and I'm just relieved, man. Relieved that the results have come back okay. So yeah, thank you on that one. Again, we've got our friend Demon Jedi Gaming said, it would be unfair to lump the number 6 issue on FSG. We were clearly willing to spend the money last year. Well, you say that, my friend, but we did a poll in the chat last week, or maybe it was last week, and we said, do you guys believe that the Anfield Agenda, do you guys think that the bid for Caicedo was genuine, or was it a PR stunt? I don't agree with the result, let me say that before I read it out. But more than 2/3 of the audience did not believe it was a legitimate offer. 2/3 of the people believed they knew they weren't going to be able to sign him. So, take that as you will, my friend. But it is absolutely okay to put it at their feet, by the way. 100%. Any failure at the football club relies on the owners. It just does. Whether it's the manager who fails, they pick the manager. Sporting director fails to bring in the number 6. Well, guess who's responsible? The people who appointed the sporting director. So, I mean, I disagree with you on that one, but I respect where you're coming from. Right, let me get this one up from Off the Post. Has to be your account name has to be a nod to Darwin, mate. It has to be. Craigo, given the secrecy, could it be someone big? Okay, let's say for a minute it is someone big, right? Let's just play that game for a second. Who would it be? Like, I'm like thinking at the best number 6s in the world right now. It ain't gonna be Rodri, So who could it be that's big? Bear with me. This might tie a few things together. One more super chat to go through, and then I'll get back to this because I want to tie it into Bastoni and Inter Milan a little bit as well, so bear with me. Troy King, thank you for your membership, mate. A member with us for a long time. Let me just get this one up. Where is it? That's what she said. Craig, does Ederson win us a Champions League final? Not on his own, but he won Atalanta a Europa League final, or was part of Atalanta winning a Europa League final. So, I don't know. We need to just stop leaking goals. And whether that's done from adding in a defensive midfielder that helps shield the back five, or whether that's done from doing that and plugging the defence with another addition as well. Look, you defend from the front, as Jurgen and everybody used to say as well. So, would he win? He wouldn't do us any harm. You know, I'd be over the moon if it was Ederson. I've been banging that drum all summer, my friend. So, I want to draw your attention to something at Inter Milan. And we'll tie this into Bastoni and maybe... who else? With Nick Barella. Let me read something out. Credit Moby Haig for this on X. Said Oaktree Capital took over Inter Milan after their previous owner, Sunning, missed a 395 million euro debt repayment deadline. They are in deep financial trouble and they probably need to sell a player. The suggestion was Bastoni at about 60 million would potentially be available. But Barella? I mean, I don't think so, because I don't think it fits the criteria for what we need right now. But Inter are in a little bit of trouble, and maybe they do need to sell somebody. So, what I've been told around the centre-back situation, like, Tanya, there you go. Oh, that's a different Tanya, is it? Sorry, I've seen a Tanya commenting. Yeah, I've been told to expect a centre-back if they come in, somebody who's not here to start immediately, but will get games, improve, and eventually be part of a pairing. That's all I can say on that one. 1 second. There we go. Rabadan, lovely to see you, bro. Said, maybe Rodri thinks it's a good idea to get out of Dodge before the sheriff shows up. There's not much that'll make me get the man boobs out again, Rabadan, but if by some miracle of amazing craziness we signed Rodri, you know, them nips coming out, that's all I'm saying. So I don't think about, hey, how have they got, by the way, 90 million euro for Julian Alvarez? Because that's been agreed. Manchester City have just agreed with Atletico Madrid of a 90 million euro sale, 75 million euro plus 50 million euro in add-ons for a player they bought 2 years ago for 14 million euro, or about 12 million pound. How? He's a good player, and I'm not arguing that front, but I wouldn't pay that much for him. PSG wanted him, but he didn't want to move to PSG. And where are they getting the money, Atletico? Like, they always seem to be able to pull these mad, huge signings out of the bag, whether it was João Felix. Didn't really work out, but they still spent a lot of money on him. Did I get this one up? Yeah, Graham, let me get this one up. So, evening, Craig, mate. Don't worry about the hidden identity of this midfielder, that it could be somebody like another Arthur Melo. No. Just no. Everton can have Arthur Melo. He's been linked with a move there. Right, look, I'm going to go through some of your comments now. Addy said, if Liverpool are looking for a number 6, could make things difficult for Bajcetic to progress and get game time. Not necessarily. I would argue the other way. You don't want to put too much emphasis and pressure on Bajcetic to be the answer, the solution after a year out. You know, whether you're at the start of your career or the midpoint or end of your career, a year out of football is still a year out of football, and that kid has a lot of catching up to do. So I would say introduce him slowly, make sure that everything is as it should be with the medical tests and all that kind of stuff as well. And I love him as a player. I'm a big Stefan Bajcetic fan. So yeah, I'm certainly not on the camp of wanting to block his pathway or anything, but it's yeah, it's just not ready. He's just not ready yet for me to be and I don't know if he's going to be a 6 or an 8, you know, or part of the double pivot. Let me get this one up. Have we done that one? Okay, where are we here? So, David Massett, thank you, David, said, we definitely need a number 6 because Slot doesn't fancy Endo. And, by the way, very much so doesn't fancy Endo from everything I've been told. And Endo's been informed of that. So, we did ask a couple of days ago why it took 2 weeks or so for the offer that was refused from Marseille for Wataru Endo to get into the public domain. And it's pretty much because they are willing to sell, but they just wanted a little bit more than Marseille were offering at that time. So, yeah, I do agree with you on that one. Slot doesn't seem to fancy Wataru Endo. And look, I'll always look back on Endo fondly because he helped us last season, but I certainly agree that we could improve on Wataru Endo. Sorry, I'm just going through my notes. A little bit of housekeeping here, but Luke Chambers has joined Wigan, as expected, on loan for the upcoming season. That has been confirmed. Newcastle United are the front runners for the signature of Crystal Palace defender Mark Gay, but Liverpool are now ready to move for the defender and will use Joe Gomez as part of the deal. Now, this will be a pleasant surprise for me if that was the case. I like Mark Gay, but when I mentioned Mark Gay to David on a recent chat that we had on the channel, David Lynch, he said that he's a little bit lacking aerially, and that was one of the reasons that he was told that he didn't quite make the final grade in Liverpool's hunt for a defender. But I also don't want to lose Joe Gomez, you know, and I was very happy to hear that Joe wants to prove himself to Arne Slot, because I understood that if we were willing to get rid of him as part of a deal for Gordon, I could see how Joe could feel slighted by that, or maybe look for a move away. And as I said to you before, the club are willing to play ball with Joe if he wanted to move away because of his years of very loyal service to the club. So, you know, if Joe wants to move and dug his heels in, then I think the club would facilitate a move for Joe. But that would worry me, because Joe is somebody who can play three positions. You don't really want to see him in DM, but he can play left back, right back, and centre back. That's a great trait to have for any manager. Right, let me just get back through my notes. So, the name that won't go away, will not go away, and we're going to still be talking about, is Anthony Gordon. Dean Jones, I think of ESPN, has said, Liverpool have a strong feeling they'll sign Anthony Gordon this window. It's legit. The player's head is turned. So, without trying to dislocate my own shoulder here, I am going to pat myself on the back a little bit here, because you'll never see us credited here at Anfield Agenda anywhere for these type of things, but regular viewers will know I've been saying since May that this has legs, and that Anthony Gordon in Liverpool is something that isn't going to go away all summer. And I'm not saying it's going to be done this summer. I wouldn't be that confident as Dean would be there. I don't have that information. I know, though, we want him and he wants us. But I would also say it's not a priority position. I think that's a fair thing to say. We've got Lucho, we've got Gakpo. You know, do we need another left player for now? On the right side, we need to look for life after Mohamed Salah. And if Ben Doak isn't going to be that guy, then we need to look there. But I would like the pace of Anthony Gordon. I do think he would tick a lot of the characteristics that we'd be looking to bring in. He's experienced. He's homegrown. He's a local boy who loves and supports the football club. He's shown progression during his time at Newcastle. He's got that blistering pace. Carragher was speaking as well. Jamie Carragher's a fan of Anthony Gordon. So, as I've said all summer to you guys, it ain't going to go away. And even if he signs a new deal at Newcastle, I'm not closing the door on it, because, as I've said all along, I would expect that that new deal would have a clause in it, because the leverage is on Anthony Gordon's side right now. Newcastle have 23 months to go on his deal, and if they don't get him signed up, they could face losing him next summer for a fraction of what they could get now. And the most important part in all of this regarding Newcastle is they have to bring in money. Their PSR issues might have gone away for now, but they ain't gone away for good. And they're looking to bring in Mark Gay from Palace. That's going to cost quite a bit of money. And their own board have said they might need to take one step backwards to take two steps forward. And have actually used us as an example with the Felipe Coutinho money of how we carefully reinvested that and took steps forward as a club. So, yeah, watch this space. Matt Schaub, thank you, Matt, for your super chat. Super kind of you, mate. Who do you think it is? Oh, God. So, I'm happy to give you an answer, but I'm going to say this is guesswork because I don't know the answer. But For me, I think I want it to be Ederson, but I have a feeling I'm going to be disappointed there. So, guesstimations, Zubamendi or Varela. One of those two would be where my guess is at. But it is just that, man. It's a guess. So, certainly don't think I'm giving you a breaking news story here. I don't know who it is. But I want it to be Ederson, but Zubamendi or Varela are ones that I think would be maybe more likely. It was lovely meeting you in Cardiff. Keep it up, man, said Harvey Lewis. Thank you. It was absolutely amazing to be able to meet people at the 2 live shows we did in Liverpool and Cardiff. And even the venue came up to me afterwards and said that people have been raving about the show. That people have been like really pleased with the show we put on in Liverpool. And it meant so much to me because that's the last live show I'm doing. And to do it in the city of Liverpool, to go out with a bang like we did, to have Carl Porter on stage, David Lynch, to have people show up in Liverpool, for it to be such a great night with a great crowd of people, man, it was amazing. But my favourite part of all of them is always meeting people afterwards. You know, I always promise people that I'll be there for photos and a chat afterwards, and I'm not lying. We were there for, I think, an hour and 20 afterwards, taking photographs, meeting people, and that is my favourite part of all of this, because you guys leave your house, come, see us, say hello. I even got a few little gifts and stuff as well, man. I'm so humbled and so proud of where we're at right now and where our community is going to. So yeah, it's class. I just I don't want it to end, to be honest with you. Right, one more super chat's just come in. And let me just get that up on screen. What do you think about Richard Rios from Colombia? Honestly, mate, haven't got a Scooby. Have not got a clue. You're not the first person to mention him to me, but I would be lying to you if I said I knew a thing about the guy, mate. Nothing. Chat? What do you guys think? I'll tell you what, chat. Give me 4 names for a poll that you think could be this number 6, and then we'll see who people want. So give me some suggestions, realistic ones that you think. Now remember, outside the Premier League, so not going to be somebody currently playing the trade in the Prem. Let's see. So 1 second. So Varela, yes. Stiller is an interesting one, George. I'd seen his name mentioned as well. Is Stiller Stuttgart? Or am I wrong there? Stiller, where was Stiller? I'm almost certain it was Germany or somewhere, but Stiller's name I'd seen somewhere earlier on. Barella, said George Singer. Zubamendi. Right, I'm going to start off by putting a couple of obvious names in. Right, so let's start off with Zubamendi, because I think everybody would like Zubamendi in there. I've got to put Ederson in there as well. Right, who else have we got? Let's see the chat. Varela. It's not going to be Ugarte. It's not, for a host of reasons. Most important one being he's not good enough. And he really isn't. Not in the way we want to play in the RNS slot. Yeah, it's not going to be Ederson, or it's not going to be Ugarte. I can't see a world, Brandon, that Michael Edwards spends that money and brings in Joshua Kimmich. It doesn't strike me as the profile that we've all been told to look out for with regards to what that midfielder could be. Ederson, Varela. Let's talk about Varela. Yeah, Varela will put in. Varela is 23 as well, as was said. So I've one more space. So let me know who you think, and we'll get this last one. Ismail Benacer. I don't think it's Benacer. Now, we have had tedious links to Benacer in the past, but I don't think it's him. Matt O'Reilly, some people are saying, well, Brighton are moving for him. Don't know if they'll get that done. It would be a very out of the blue one if it was O'Reilly, but I don't think so. Hulmans, Barella, Stiller, Andre, O'Reilly, Koku. I doubt it's going to be Koku. I can't see him go back to Feyenoord. Can you imagine if that after all this search, after 3 years waiting for a DM, that it's Koku from Feyenoord, I think, yeah, no, I can't see that one. Okay. I'm going to put in Vitinha because we haven't spoken about him. Right, so there's 4 names. These are the 4, I think, that have some sense. So let's go with them and we'll work backwards from there. Sorry, I've a load of super chats to work back through now. My goodness. I've done that one. I've done that one. Let's grab this one up on screen. From Nathan Allen. Said, what annoys me, does it annoy you, how City sell a bench player who barely plays for 90 mil and then they got Haaland for really cheap and we can't sell squad players? Does it annoy me? It annoys me and it intrigues me as to how. We've seen a lot of sales of players over this summer transfer window that have left me scratching my head. Mainly the fringe players, the young players, the homegrown players that have been moving between clubs for stupid amounts of money that aren't justified at all. And you're right, 90 million euro for Julian Alvarez does not seem like a fair evaluation of his talents and what we've seen. He's a good player, a very good player. But is he a 90 million euro player? Well, I guess the answer technically is yes, because Atleti would pay it. But they also paid 100 and something million for João Felix. So I don't know on that one. But you are right. I'm still confused how nobody has banged down £25 million for Kelleher. I don't understand that. It should be a no-brainer if you need a keeper. A Santino, always a pleasure, bro. Said, what if it's a swap deal with Real Madrid? No to Gordon, spend that money on Kudus. So let me just say, firstly, we're talking Real Madrid, so we're talking too many, right? Oh, dude, honestly, remember the stream when we thought we'd sign Moise Caicedo, and I was giving it the whole we're winning everything malarkey. If it was Tchouaméni, I'd almost promise the nipples again. A Santino, mate, that would be incredible if it was Zubimendi. And what you've said about Gordon and Kudus, I would like both. So I would like to sell Diaz longer term, because I think if somebody paid the money, we've got Gakpo and I'd like Gordon there. Gordon's younger. I think Gordon will end up scoring more. I like Lucho. I respect Lucho, but I would cash in for the right number. On the other side, maybe it will be one more season with Mohamed Salah. Then when his wages are off the books, maybe you trigger Kudus release clause, which to the best of my understanding at the minute isn't triggerable, because I think it ends in June each year that you'd have to trigger it before. But open to be corrected on that one. Thurman from Mönchengladbach. Who? Kone is Mönchengladbach. Are you talking about Thuram from Lille? Or not Lille. Is it Lille? No, not Lille. Who was Thuram played for again? Who was it Kevin Thuram plays for? Nice. Sorry, Nice. Juventus were all over Kevin Thuram earlier in the window, so I don't think it's going to be him, nor do I think it's going to be Kone if that was the guy you were suggesting from Mönchengladbach, although he's available for a snip. Another super chat from Off the Post. Maybe disappointed. What if it's someone cheap? So, cheap isn't always bad. So, football has been littered with stories of players who've been bought for big money, who've shit the bed. And then, of course, there are players who are bought for big money that massively succeed as well. But it's also been littered with stories of Andy Robertsons, where you sell Kevin Stewart to Hull, you take that money, and you buy a left-back that has turned out to be one of the best left-backs in the Premier League, and we paid £8.5 million for him. Stefan Bajcetic, I think, is going to go on and become an outstanding midfielder, €300,000. So, money isn't always the answer, but sometimes proven quality would certainly cost money. But sometimes the numbers, the underlying data is where Edwards, Will Spearman and our recruitment team have pulled aces out of their sleeve. So let's wait and see. David H. How are you, David? Thank you for your super chat, mates. Come to PNW. PNW? It's not Preston North Ends. Where's PNW? Help! Sorry, mate. I don't know where PNW is. SKLFC said, what about Frenkie de Jong at Barca? Barca want him gone. Oh, you dirty, dirty little fella. That would be delicious. Oh, don't get me. Oh, lad. I'd have Frenkie de Jong in a heartbeat. It's just the wages that would worry me about that. But God, man, I'd have Frenkie de Jong in a heartbeat. Oh, God. That'd be exciting. Leon Simpson, welcome to Anfield Agenda FC, my friend. Sean Reynolds, thank you for your super sticker, mate. You removed the comment, but thank you for the super sticker. God, now you've got me thinking. God. Frenkie de Jong would be amazing. He's got a bit of a dodgy injury record, but he's a one hell of a player, and obviously somebody on our slot would know all about being Dutch. I'm going to be dreaming about that tonight now, mate. Well in. Leon Simpson, thank you for your super chat, Leon. Said, your thoughts on this number 6 boxed off by the end of the week. To add thoughts on Gordon as a 10 and kept Lucho on the left, please be Ederson. Boxed off by the end of the week. Yeah, I would be in that camp. I would. I'd be in the camp that thinks this could be boxed off very soon. By the way, speaking of boxing things off, top left corner. There's 3,292 people in the chat right now. Please, if you haven't, do hit that subscribe button. Help us get over 266,000. And don't forget to drop a like as well. Get us up over 1,000 likes. But thank you again for showing up. Incredible numbers. I do think it's boxed off though, mate, by the end of the week. Yes. I wouldn't even be surprised if we heard something later tonight. Like 10:30, 10:15 is where tomorrow's newspapers start to drop. Wouldn't be surprised if we hear something certainly in the next 24, 48 hours. So I'm constantly going to be refreshing things, looking. I've got Connor looking as well. Our moderators are looking. Yeah, I don't think we're going to be waiting too long to find out who this name is. Alf said, who do you think / hope it will be? Ederson is my hope. Think, as I said earlier on, educated guess, Zubimendi or Varela. But our Frenkie de Jong friend now has me very confused, because I would very much love Frenkie de Jong, but I just can't see us paying it. Sean Reynolds again, mate. You put in the super sticker and you didn't put in a comment. Let me get this one up on screen from Jack ZCHYTH. I think Vitinha is class, but would be expensive. So I can't say I followed Vitinha too much, in all honesty. But he's another name that's been doing the rounds that would fit the bill of a lot of what we're looking for. It is just guesswork though. Like, I mean, I really wish I could just sit here and go, yes, it's this guy or that guy, but I refuse to tell you guys lies. Like, I'm not going to be that fella. So I'm as anxious in a positive way as everybody else. This I very much agree with from David Massa, who said McAllister has to be the bargain of last season. 100%. How we got that man for about 40 million quid is quite simply daylight robbery. When you consider what Caicedo went for from the same club, 115 million, and we were able to go in and get a World Cup winner who has ice in his veins for about 40 million quid. And he's what, 23, 24? I mean, I love Alexis. Absolutely love him. So, no argument for me on that. What a bargain. Heavy Metal D, thank you, mate, for your membership comment. Said, evening all, hope you're well. It's been a bit since I've joined in. Been busy, but also getting ready to move into my first flat. Being missing your face. God, my wife doesn't even miss the face, mate. But let me say something to you. Proud of you. Well in. Moving into your first flat is a big moment. I moved out of home at 19, and myself and Sabrina moved into our first place together at 19. But yeah, well in, man. Proud of you. Hope it goes well, and do let us know how the move goes. Adam Brown. Thank you for your super chat. Adam said, I just pray it's not Sander Berg, because he's championship. So glad your shows went well. Do you know who is looking at Sander Berg? And this will make you smile. Ten Lasso and Manchester United have been mentioned as a possible for Sander Berg. God, that would be the most underwhelming thing in the world. And look, he plays in England, so it ain't going to be him. But he's not good enough. So yeah, let United have him. Could Gallagher have been our 6? He's moving. So yeah, Conor Gallagher gave the yes to Atletico Madrid yesterday. They gave him a deadline, and this was written in the media. He said yes with 1 minute to go on the deadline. So he's gone over to Atleti, who've also agreed a €90 million deal for Julian Alvarez. So where on earth Atleti are getting all this money from, I don't know. Valverde, he's absolutely class. He's not a 6. He's a midfielder or a right attacker for me, Valverde. Look, if we went to Real Madrid, you know, the club have long been fond of Arlie and Tchouaméni, but I don't think Madrid would be stupid enough to sell Tchouaméni. So I'd be all over it if that was the answer, though. Kyle Caulfield said, what if it was De Jong for Lucho, straight swap, then Gordon? God damn it, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. What if it was De Jong for Lucho, straight swap, then get Gordon? God damn it, that's genius. The problem with De Jong is the wages of, you know, first and foremost, he is, I think, or was the highest paid player in La Liga on a very high wage. If there's any way to get around that, I'd take that. I'd take that. I'll take that in a heart. We're winning the Champions League then. I'm sorry, it's done. We're winning the Champions League. If we did that, if we Lucho for De Jong and then went in and got Gordon, I mean, it's won, it's over. Don't even show up anybody else. It's done. Eddie Cox Wilkins, how excited are you for the new number 6? Very, because it's about time. It's about time, bro. It's about time that we got this boxed off, but it isn't over the line yet. Hamish said Camavinga would be my number 1 because of his ability to play in the 6 or 8. Hamish, sorry, I'm with you. Tchouaméni, Camavinga, either one is partly central. You know, there's certain players that there's just no arguing for me with. De Jong wouldn't argue against. Tchouaméni wouldn't argue against. Camavinga absolutely wouldn't argue against. Ederson wouldn't argue against. But God, you guys are on point tonight with some of these suggestions. So Conor Gallagher has now been given permission to go across and do his Atletico Madrid medical as well. Mark has just forwarded that on to me, so thank you, Mark. Team Shark Meg said, De Jong is fantastic though. I think loads of girlfriends and wives would be getting pregnant that night. Oh yeah, there'd be a whole little group of Frankies being born in 9 months' time, mate, without a shadow of a doubt. Oh God, that honestly, dude, whoever it was that suggested that swap, look, it's probably far-fetched, but my God, would I take that? Yes. Leon Simpson, thank you for your super chat, Leon. Said, get our ideal 6 realistically. Do we win the Prem? Yes, we have a chance. I think if we get the ideal number 6, and you did say ideal, depending on what happens with our centre-backs, if we don't lose Gomez, we don't get an injury there, I would rather we sign another centre-back as well, but we have a chance. We have a chance. If we sign the ideal number 6, yes, I do think we have a chance to win the Premier League. Really. But we need more than that. Like, let's not talk ourselves into accepting just the number 6. It is a 6 and a centre-back for me. That's the minimum. But yeah, I'd be happy. For instance, I'll take you back to the Caicedo video when we won the bidding process for him. I was fully on for that was it. We're winning the league. When we signed Caicedo, I was done. That was it. We're winning everything. Don't even come at me. It was done. And I think, yeah, the ideal number 6 would put me straight into happy vibes 100%. David Massett said, as I said, you're showing Liverpool give Gravenberch a go at number 6. He can certainly play in a double pivot, but we've been after a specialist, and I've nothing against giving Ryan a chance, but we still need to go and get that guy, because Ryan could be the guy, but we need somebody who is the guy, definitely. There's nothing wrong with having multiple options. Just look at that stupidly big Chelsea squad. But yeah, I like Gravenberch. And I'm converted because when we signed him, I was, very worried about why we were spending the money on him. Why he left Ajax to go to Bayern didn't work. Why Bayern sold him so quickly as well. But I like him now. And I'm glad that... I didn't like these links to Turkey that have been popping up at Galatasaray. I want Ryan Gravenberch to stay. Elusive Glue, Jeff, how are we, bro? Said, hey Craig, an amazing community. Frenkie de Jong is on wages of £721,000 a week, so that's an issue. Impossible deal. Love you, Craig. I mean, cheers for bursting my balloon. Now look, you're right, I said it a while ago. He's on ridiculous money, but at some point a line has to be drawn there. Barca really want to move on, and I'm not saying it's a possible deal. I'm just saying if that was at all possible, I'd take it. But you're right. We're not going to be giving anybody anywhere near that type of money. Nor is he worth that type of wage. But if Barca can find some way to pay him off in installments or something, or part of a fee, or I don't know. They have to get creative. And I don't know his contractual situation. How long has he got left on his contract? Justin said Goretzka maybe. Well, he's on the list of players that Bayern are willing to sell, but I don't think it's going to be Goretzka, nor do I think Goretzka's good enough to come in and be that guy. Any news on Trent? Nope. Nothing, which is good to me. Look, Real Madrid clearly stated that they want to sign Trent on a free, and the only way that's happening, or let me rephrase that. Real Madrid have clearly briefed and maybe stated, I don't know if they've come out publicly and said it, but certainly enough journalists have said their plan was him on a free. So, no, I think Trent signs a new deal and stays at Liverpool. Leandro Paredes at AS Roma, said LFC Shankly. These are all guesses, my friends, and look, they could be right, they could be wrong, we truly don't know. Let's have a look at the poll, though. We said, who's the number 6? Zubamendi, 40%, Ederson, 38%, Varela, Vitinha, 15%, and 8%. So, Zubamendi and Ederson are the two most popular of those four that we spoke about anyway. I'm just looking through my notes because... So, Fofana. Let's talk about Fofana for a second. Yusuf Fofana's priority, according to Fabrizio Romano, is still that he wants to join AC Milan. No talks with West Ham in recent days. No proposal from Manchester United. Still no agreement with AC Milan and Monaco. But Yusuf Fofana wants to go and play at AC Milan. So Alex has asked the question I know that we're all thinking of. Would the Nips come out for Camavinga? Yes. Yes. Forever yes. It would be nippity doo dah, nippity day if it was Camavinga, bro. Here's a friend I met at 2 shows, Cardiff and Liverpool. Came to both of them. It's time that when it comes to our youngsters, we highly rate Clark Morton. If we sell them, we put buyback clauses in their deals. Loved seeing you at the Cardiff show and the Liverpool show. Thank you, bro. It was lovely meeting you and your good lady as well. I don't want to ruin your news because I don't know if you want to keep that on the DL or not. But fair to say you had an exciting weekend that weekend between Friday and Sunday. And it was lovely meeting up with you both as well, mate. So thank you for coming along. You'd be surprised at the amount of people who were in Cardiff and then bought tickets and came to Liverpool. I know of at least 20 people who were at the Cardiff show and then came to the Liverpool show 2 days later. Again, thank you all so much for those who travelled. Look at Stiller and Stack. The stats are very good, said Mark Baldwin. Mark, Stiller's name has come up in chat today. I don't know anything about him. Any news on Joel Matip? He's not a Liverpool player anymore, my friend. There was a couple of links to like Bournemouth and a couple of other Premier League clubs, and I do think he can certainly still do a job in the Prem. The thing for me was, if he had 1 year to go on his contract, I wouldn't have even mentioned moving Joel on. But with it being the situation it was, I just felt like it was right. You know, he did the ACL, his contract was up. It just felt like the right time. But I love Joel. I wish him nothing but the best. Daniel said, not as good as Morton Houlden. Well, his name is another name that's been mentioned. Houlden plays for Sporting Lisbon, played with Denmark as well in the Euros. I think he's 23 years of age and would certainly not surprise me if he was one of the ones under consideration. TOTT2KZ1 said, you can tell the chat it's absolutely fine by me. So, okay. Now, you said I can tell the chat, so I'm going to tell the story from my side, if that's okay, mate. So, firstly, TOTT2KZ1 got engaged in between the Cardiff show and the Liverpool show. His fiancée was speaking to my wife and Connor's partner, Katie, and telling them that she was going to propose because it was a leap year to our friend TOTT2KZ1, but she forgot the ring the night of the Cardiff show, left it in the hotel, so forgot it. So had this big dilemma of what do I do? So I believe there was some talk of some Taylor Swift music or something and that proposal coming. So then we fast forward, and I get a message on Discord from TOTT2KZ1 to say, Craig, we're coming to the Liverpool show on Sunday and my missus is really looking forward to chatting with Sabrina. So that gave me an indication that maybe things went well. And then I meet them both at the Liverpool show and I see the engagement ring. And we know that we now have another Anfield Agenda wedding in the offing. By the way, I'm classing it as an Anfield Agenda wedding, mate. Sorry, I'm fully taking over that. But yeah, well in, bro. Well in. It was lovely to meet you both. And yeah, we've had Anfield Agenda babies. We've had Anfield Agenda relationships and Anfield Agenda marriage now. That's amazing. Class. So well in. Delighted for you both. Isa said, what are your thoughts on Tchouaméni if we were to get him somehow? Be amazing. You know, I understood when we tried hard to sign Orleans Tchouaméni, but he made his mind up when he was at Monaco that Real Madrid was his dream move, and Real Madrid paid the money and they got him in. And look, there's no shame losing out on a player to Real Madrid. But if for whatever reason he was available, I certainly think Liverpool would be interested. I just don't have an indication that he is. But God, if he was, yes. Stupid question, but what number is Chiesa? So, when you say number... By the way, what was PNW again? I still didn't hear what place PNW was. Somebody said come to PNW. Something North Wales? Maybe, I don't know. So, Federico Chiesa as a number is like a wide player that can also operate as a 10 or through the centre. Price-wise, a bargain. An absolute bargain. There's talk that he could be available for about £15 million because Thiago Motta has told him unequivocally that he's not in his plans, and he's available. He's also in the last year of his deal, so they want to recoup some money. So yeah, I don't know what else to say. Somebody's got to get a bargain, and surely worth a punt for somebody at that price. Now, by the way, we are at 784 likes. We've got 2,500 people still with us in the chat. If you haven't, please do hit that like button for me and let's get us up over 1,000 likes. Oh, it's Pacific Northwest. I don't envision I'm going to set foot on American soil again after the Boston situation, mate. So for those of you who aren't aware what happened, we had a show booked for Boston. We were playing the House of Blues in Boston. We had registered with the IRS for a tax for the show. We had done everything, filled out W8 forms and lots of other stuff. And when you're travelling from Ireland to America, there's a system, it's the same in the UK, I think, called the ESTA, which is a visa waiver system. On the ESTA website, it says that you're allowed to travel or work in the United States for a period of up to 90 days. So obviously we think, cool, we're going for a show, that covers us. So we did all the IRS stuff, registered all the tax stuff, booked the show, booked the venue, paid for the flights for 4 of us, booked the accommodation. We get to Dublin Airport. In the basement of Dublin Airport, there is Department of Homeland Security. So in Ireland, we're lucky enough that we can clear American customs in Dublin before you fly over to America. So we get into the queue. All our bags are checked in on the plane. We're down in the basement of Dublin Airport at the Department of Homeland Security. We go up, we show our passports, and the question comes, purpose of your visit to the United States. And I very confidently said, we're doing a show. We're going over to do a show in America. Yeah, we're going over to do a show in Boston. Really looking forward to it. So he said, bear with me a moment. So we went out the back, and he came back out, and he said, come with me. So we brought myself and my wife into the back, where we were told to just sit there and wait. So I'm thinking, okay, that's a bit weird. So we're sitting there, we're waiting. So then I get called up to the desk, and the Department of Homeland Security officer said to me, somebody over there's flight is leaving really soon. Do you mind if I deal with this gentleman before you? And I said, no, we have a bit of time for our flight, no problem, work away. So then I got called up, and to cut a long story short, we had the wrong visa. We needed a performance visa. And here's the kicker. The lovely lady at the Department of Homeland Security, who was a lovely lady, said to me, this is a common mistake. You'd be surprised how often it happens. That the ESTA would cover me to go into America and do business from the perspective of agreeing a business deal, or to go over there and try to secure a supplier for something, but not for doing a show. Now, we were only doing a show for about 100 people, like it wasn't huge. So, ended up that we were denied entry to the United States of America. Connor and myself were removed off the ESTA system for life, meaning we can never get a visa waiver to go into America. And if we want to go to America, which we can do, we're not barred from entering America, we have to go through a process of applying for a 10-year holiday visa, which quite frankly involves a load of questions, because I've started filling out the form, that is absolutely too much. I would be asked less questions applying for a mortgage than they wanted for me to have a holiday visa. So I'm not going to set foot in States again, because it's not worth the fucking hassle. I did nothing wrong. Connor did nothing wrong. The system is an absolute weird system where we're removed for life for a very common mistake, which they acknowledged. And it just really left a sour taste in my mouth. So as somebody who's been to America 6 times, loves it, thought about moving there, after that experience, I don't want to set foot in the country again, because it's left a really sour taste in my mouth. So that's the story about why we won't be going to the Pacific Northwest. Yeah. And we were $6,000 down as well, by the way, as a kicker. Which, yeah, that was a weird day. Right, Ari, let me get your super chat up, my friend. Oh, but there was one more thing, sorry. There was one more bit to that story that I didn't mention. So, the official, who honestly was a really lovely lady at the Department of Homeland Security, said to me, I know you're probably really disappointed right now, but I think you would qualify for I think it was called a P1 visa, which basically is a visa for people who excel in the arts or excel in acting or excel in their chosen career. And she said, I've looked at your channel, I've looked at your numbers, and I think you'd be able to move to America and live there on a P1 visa, which is cool. So I could probably get a visa to live in America because of you guys and how successful the channel's growing, but can't go there on a holiday without having to go for an interview in the American embassy and fill out an ungodly amount of paperwork. So yeah, welcome to the world of me. Right, anyway, this super chat from Harry said, Kwanzaa will be the best centre-back in the world soon. I don't know, but he's pretty good, but I don't know what his ceiling is going to be. Colin, thank you for your super chat, said, evening Craigo, any news on the goalkeeper, Mamaradashvili? Yes, a little bit actually, and thank you for giving me a little poke on that one, because I did want to speak about Mamaradashvili. See how confidently now I'm saying Mamaradashvili as if Mamaradashvili is an easy name to say. Mamaradashvili is not the most easy name today to say. See, I can't even say to say, but Mamaradashvili is a goalkeeper who Liverpool are looking at, and according to reports coming from Valencia, which is where Mamaradashvili plays, he's very open to the idea of coming to Liverpool. Liverpool are looking at Georgie, getting cocky now, Georgie Mamaradashvili as a long-term replacement for Alisson Becker. So the thought process is this: Liverpool would sign him and send him out on loan for at least 1 year. Bournemouth has been one club that has been linked with taking him on loan. He is open to it, according to reports coming out of Spain, and you're looking at somewhere about 25-30 million quid, according to all of these reports. So, yeah, that's future-proofing, and there's nothing wrong with a bit of future-proofing as well. David H said, that is insanity. PNW includes Vancouver, Canada, mate. Ah, you see, Canada, we can go to. Yeah, it was really disappointing, bro, honestly, like, because we tried to do everything the right way. And do you know what the really annoying thing is? And I'm not going to throw anybody under a bus here, but there was other fan channels who were in America at that time that I'd be pretty certain entered in on holiday visas. But we told the truth, and to be removed off that visa waiver program for life, that just felt like excessive, you know. But hey, it is what it is. Rules are rules. You have to live with them. But yeah, Canada, definitely. My wife has relatives living in Canada, although nowhere near Vancouver. Kind of Toronto, Mississauga, that kind of area. So yeah, maybe we can do Vancouver. I've never been to Vancouver before, so wouldn't mind having a look. Jack Dempsey, how are you, Jack? Said, sorry I'm late. Let's talk about six, baby. Let's talk about you and me. I don't know who it's going to be, mate. You know, I'm anxiously looking to try and figure out who this might be, and I'm waiting to see if we get any Joyce Bombs or David Ornstein information or anything now late night. So I'm going to hang on till 10:30 to see if we can get that news. So stick with us if you're okay. If you're not worn out yet, stick with us and we'll keep going and see if anything pops there. What's this from Mark? Yeah, so Mr. Schwackhoff believes it's Zubamendi and that Liverpool will be prepared to trigger the release clause. But, you know, as I said, take it at a pinch of salt at this point. Spell it now, Craig. Okay, Mamaradashvili. Now let me check if I spelled that right. Mamaradashvili. Hang on, let me see if I spelled it. Mamaradashvili. I did spell it right. So there you go. The Facement Network said, so no Hawaii vacation. I'm devastated. Do you know what? Weirdly, Hawaii's never been a place in America I ever had any want to visit. New York and Hawaii have never appealed to me for some reason. I don't know why, but yeah, Florida. I love Florida. I've been to Florida 5 or 6 times, and hope to go back there many more, but, you know, it is what it is. Right, let's keep cracking because there's more news to get through. Sepp van den Berg. PSV are not giving up on signing Sepp van den Berg. That's according to reports coming out of the Netherlands. But they have to stump up the dough because Liverpool have a price, and if you're not willing to pay it, then TTT, Tough Titties Turkleton. Just making sure I haven't forgotten anything here because it's so many notes. Oh yes, so Ian Doyle of the Echo has kind of backed up a lot of those have said. A lot of others have said as well. Liverpool are not interested at the moment in Julio Soler, that young left back from Argentina. So that was doing the rounds a little bit, but it doesn't look like there's anything to that as of now. What's this one? David Ornstein said Liverpool have identified a target, are pursuing a specialist number 6 from outside the Premier League. Worth keeping an eye on the situation this week, and are now moving ahead with a signing for that role. So exciting times. Let's wait and see. Let's wait and see who it is, because honestly, I'm on edge waiting to see who this signing is, because I don't want an underwhelming announcement. I want it to be one that has us all going, oh shit. Why not Boubacar Kamara? So that's the youngster from Aston Villa, if I'm not mistaken. Last summer, his name was being linked with Liverpool, and I didn't know all that much about him then, to be honest with you, but I've not seen anything new, if it's the same guy, unless I've got my Kamaras wrong, sorry, but yeah, I've not seen anything new on that one. Eric Klassen, thank you, mate, for being a member with us for 10 months. Really appreciate it. And don't forget, by the way, if you want to become a member of Anfield Agenda FC or Anfield Agenda Ultras, don't forget to hit that membership button. It really does help us out a lot, and again, we do appreciate it. There are some little perks for members as well. You get the Anfield Agenda logo beside your name in the chat. Your chat appears in green to me and other members, making it easy to spot your comments. You get included in behind the scenes members only polls and stuff like that, and we may even look to add a little bit of special member only podcast stuff as well moving forward. So thank you to everyone that is currently a member, but if anybody else wants to join, that is what you get for part of your membership. Right, so who's impressed me the most so far? Who's impressed me the most? I'm trying to think a bit left field here, because we know the players who are good, so it's no surprise. Who's impressed me? Leone. Probably Trey Leone. Really, really impressed by him when he came on for Curtis Jones against Betis. I think it was Betis or Arsenal. Sorry, I can't remember which one it was. Who else has impressed me? Yaros. Yeah, Yaros has impressed me as well. Bradley we know about. I like Bobby Clark, so very surprised to see that maybe he was available. TOTT2KZ1 is gifted 5 Anfield Agenda memberships as well. Appreciate that. They have gone to, let me just see here, Aaron, Trey, Brett Young, Corin McKeown, and It's Me, all gifted memberships by TOTT2KZ1. Thank you for that, mate. Brandon Badenhorst, welcome to Anfield Agenda Ultras, my friend. Appreciate your support. I think I mentioned this, but we've a new podcast episode coming out tomorrow morning. Myself and Jack recorded it this evening, so and Tanya, thank you for gifting a membership. Tanya Wheatley as well. Sorry, I missed that one. Mark, let me know. Do check out the Anfield Agenda podcast, where we put out 2 episodes every week, completely free to download and listen to. Available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Acast, wherever you get your podcasts from. And you can get a link to it with, there's no link there actually. Just search Anfield Agenda on whatever your podcast platform is. What's happening with... Oh no, I want to get your super chat up on screen, mate. I don't just want to read it out. I want to show it up on screen for you. 1 second. Leston Seabury, welcome to Anfield Agenda Ultras as well, my friend. Really appreciate your support. So, Autumn said, what's happening with Endo? I just got his shirt. I think you might be disappointed with your shirt purchase. My understanding is that Arne Slot doesn't fancy Wataru Endo, and it sounded strange when we found out that the offer from Marseille was 2 weeks before we found out publicly about that offer. And you got to ask, why did we find out about that offer? Well, it's probably because the club or Michael Edwards or Richard Hughes wanted to invite more offers. And then, from speaking to people, you start to hear that he's just not fancied by the manager. So I do feel he is going to be moved on if the right offer comes in. It could be one of him or Tyler Morton. But certainly, just look at the game against United as well. He wasn't picked to start in that game. Jones was put in the 6. So, yeah, I don't like to be the bearer of bad news, mate. But I don't think he's got much of a long-term future left at the club. Certainly if you get an offer of, I'd say, 15 to 18, I think he probably moves. Jack Dempsey, thank you so much for your super chat as well, Jack. You're very kind. Have brought us up to €299.58 worth of super chats tonight, which is absolutely insane. Thank you. For people asking about Kamara, he's out with an ACL tear till October. Would most definitely rule out any current interest, but he would be ideal for the role. And also, we were told that it's a player that's not plying the trade in the Premier League as well. So, certainly wouldn't be the one that's being spoken about. Anyway. Paul Byrne said, "Hi Craig, how did your show go?" So Cardiff was good, don't get me wrong. Cardiff was a great show. The venue was lovely. The venue were very kind and helpful, and the people were amazing. But not to get too soppy, because you know me, I'm an emotional old fool. When I got to Liverpool, I pulled up in the car and I was really nervous. I'd done Dublin, I'd done Belfast, I'd done Cardiff, but I wanted to put my best foot forward in Liverpool. I wanted to show Liverpool what it meant to me to be in Liverpool. So we put on Carl Porter as a comedian to warm up. Carl knocked it out of the park. We David Lynch there. We put on a good show. And I got out of the car at the venue and I'm nervous. I get out of the car and the first guy I see is Dave Sharples, who gives me a handshake and a hug. And from that point where I walked from there through the venue, through the bar, all the way to the dressing room at the back, I was met with hugs, handshakes, congratulations, welcome to Liverpool, thank you for saying what we're all thinking. A man at 85 years of age came up to me and said, "I've watched Liverpool all my life, I love your channel, I never thought I'd watch YouTube." It was more than I could have hoped for. I stood on the stage and I didn't feel an inch of nerves, not a pinch of it. I was confident, I was at home, I was with my people, and I felt really calm. And it was beautiful. It was fucking beautiful. Yeah, absolutely beautiful. Couldn't have asked for any more. So what a show to finish up on. In a 589-seater arena. It wasn't full, don't get me wrong, but it was incredible. And I got a lovely photo. I'll show you the photo. I'm going to show you the photo that we took on the night. I'm going to put it on screen. Make that 300. Love the channel, said Demon Jedi Gaming. So let me just get this photo up, if I may, and I'll show you, because it's a lovely photo. And yeah, let me just get it for you and show you. Where is it? This one. So 1 second. Look at that. That was Liverpool. That was at the end of the show. Myself and Connor and everybody behind us, we took a photo, and what can I say? Like, yeah, amazing. Absolutely amazing. So yeah, it was brilliant. Thank you. Yeah, class. Really enjoyed it. And Liverpool were amazing. Everybody we met, even just out and about, everyone absolutely amazing. Ooh, sorry. Craig, how would you feel if we signed Zubamendi, Gordon and kept Sepp van den Berg? I mean, I would say that's a successful window. If Arne Slot deems Sepp van den Berg good enough, that's his decision and I'm going to support it. I have my own thoughts on centre-back and my own thoughts on Van den Berg, but all I wanted in this summer was the positions filled that I think we had a gap in. I don't think it will be Sepp van den Berg, but I wouldn't be overly angry if that was the situation. Crimbo Slot said, well done for getting over your anxiety. Liverpool refused to let me have any anxiety because they just embraced us when we got there. I couldn't feel anxiety. How could I? It was just full of good, positive vibes in that room. And every one of us together sang Fuck Goldbridge. Not joking. People that are there can tell you. Somebody asked me a question about him and I said, F him. And then everybody starts singing F Goldbridge. Unprompted. That's when I knew I was with my people. So yeah, class. Mark was nervous. Mark was there, yes. Sorry, we dragged Mark up on stage. So Mark's our chief moderator and Mark's been amazing. He's been helping us out for ages. And Mark said to me last month that his PlayStation 4 broke. And I said to him, why don't you go get a 5? And he goes, nah, I don't want to spend that much money on a 5. Understandable. You know. So when we went over to do the show, we brought a PlayStation 5 over for Mark that we bought to bring over. And we brought Mark up and we gave him the PlayStation 5 as a little thank you just for being awesome. You know, Mark is here night after night and he does it out of the goodness of his heart and the support of the channel. So, but Mark, I realised I forgot to give you the mug. So I need to get your address because I've got an Anfield Agenda mug I want to post it over as well, bro. I forgot about that on the night. But yeah. So without Mark, we wouldn't have been able to do all these streets each night as well. So it was lovely to meet him as well at the show. There was even a guy who came in from Australia who brought me a mental health hoodie, which was beautiful, you know, and, you know, flew all the way in from Australia for the show. TOTT2KZ1 said, Craig, our wedding is in your hands. You have the job of wedding planner and being the officiant. You've got 5 years to plan. So I'll definitely be I'll definitely do the wedding. Yes, mate, I'll be the officiant 100% if we can find a way to make that happen. But I planned our wedding as well, by the way, so no problem with that. Just tell me your budget and then I'll obviously take my 50% out of that and we'll go from there. Peter Cavan said, love one of the mugs. So I'm going to get loads more done. I brought 20 over to Liverpool that we just gave away to people at the show. At the 2 shows, sorry, we gave away the mugs to people. I knew there was going to be lots of youngsters at the show, so we made sure that the kids that were there, we gave most of them a mug just to say thanks for coming and stuff as well. But yeah, look, we got the mugs down to a price that we think we'll be able to, about 12 quid probably for the mugs, so we're going to get them sorted soon. Look, ladies and gents, there is no breaking news that I'm seeing coming in, so I don't want to keep you all here for no reason. If anything does happen, you know, I'll be here straight away, but I'm going to call it a night for the minute. I'll see you guys tomorrow. We'll have our morning video midday. We'll have the 5 o'clock, 5:30 news video, and then we'll have the late night agenda tomorrow night as well. We're at 55 likes short of 1,000 likes, so if you can hit that like button for me, that'll be really appreciated. And also, don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so. Podcast episode out tomorrow. Wow, what an amazing stream tonight was again, guys. Thank you for your support as always. I don't deserve you, but you're here night after night and I love you all the bits. So I'll see you tomorrow and thanks for another awesome stream.